The Green Lantern issue 2, Grant Morrison writing and Liam Sharp on art. The first thing I'll say about this is about halfway through this issue, I stopped reading it and went, can I remember what happened in issue 1? And I couldn't. Outside of the ending and what the last cliffhanger was, I couldn't remember a damn thing about issue 1. I had to go back and skim read issue 1 so I could continue reading issue 2 and have a sense of what was going on.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I like this series 2 issues in. It's, you know.
I thought this was weaker than the first issue.
Really?
Yeah.
I do like that he's playing with Lantern mythos. Like, Rotlop Fan is, he's a species that doesn't have sight, so they don't have any comprehension. So everything's done through sound. That was an Alan Moore creation, and he had his own oath that was all about, you know, the F-sharp bell instead of Green Lantern's light. So I like that Morrison's going back and pulling stuff like that. The rest of the issue, like, is that supposed to be Lady Styx from 52? Like, because I was getting Lady Styx vibes.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. I didn't.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But just kind of the stuff and the bird lady. This feels like, because she's Zudarian. Because she doesn't feel like any Zudarian I've ever read.
I don't know. I thought maybe, but I mean, she's just there's probably a lot of avian species.
Yeah, right. So this doesn't feel like it's modern Green Lantern continuity. Like, this feels like
I want to see that nuclear head in live action. I want to see what that looks like in motion.
Oh,
is it a nuclear head or a volcano?
Volcano.
A volcano head, whatever.
Yeah. His name is Volk.
Because it's constantly erupting, and I want to see what that looks like in live action. Is he not just leaving a trail of volcanic, like, lava and ash behind him?
It looks glorious, is what it looks like.
It's such a Morrison concept, though, right? Like, that was Zorn.
I doubt he invented it. This is probably a deep pull from the 70s or something like that.
I don't know, man. This feels like Zorn when he was writing New X-Men. Zorn had a head that was a black hole. You know?
So the premise here is that they're questioning the Spider from the first issue. Meanwhile, the villains are breaking out Evil Star to get component number 3, which turns out to be his star brand on his wrist. And he ends up in the hospital, and Hal's like, hey, kill 2.5 million people, don't treat them too nicely, kind of thing. But they're seeking components to build the ultimate weapon or some shit.
There you go. That sums it up. Or some shit.
Or some shit.
I mean, the planets are vanishing.
But, well, yeah, I mean, the cliffhanger is the Earth's not there, which, by the way, is less effective when Superman literally just did this.
Exactly.
Well, I didn't read that, so
right,
this works fine for me.
And I feel like Bendis did it a little bit better because there was a build-up to it. You know?
Well, I like the shock value here at the end most. The final couple pages, I like the first page when we see Oa. It's a really nice page of just the cityscape.
It's a gorgeous page, yeah.
I think the art is actually really hit and miss a little on that, though. With a lot of the general, aliens and people.
Yeah, it's the inking and coloring too, because Sharp's doing it all himself, right?
Yeah, I think so. No, I don't think so.
No? So maybe that's part of it.
I'm sure I saw different
Steve
colors.
Olive is colorist.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
So I assume he's doing the inks himself.
Yeah. So it doesn't feel like it feels like Sharp, but it feels off too at the same time.
I think the colors are a little bit flat. Is maybe what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like the book when it gets into the detective bit. Like the police questioning the suspect stuff.
Yeah,
I think that
stuff,
whole section plays fantastically.
Well, that's where it feels like it actually flows like a story to me. I think Morrison has this thing sometimes when he's doing a lot of his weird characters that I find it hard to follow some of their conversations for one reason or the other. Like, he likes to write dialogue in a really offbeat way that I think makes it harder to follow when you're reading it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of
very distracting trying to read Volk's dialogue when there's these like little lava interruptions.
Yeah.
Which might play better on screen, but when you're trying to read it and it's just
because I feel like I have to stop and think about this when I'm reading Morrison sometimes really hard, but not in a way where I'm trying to interpret what's going on and I'm thinking thematically and I'm thinking like, oh, and I want to analyze every word. I have to think really hard because it just feels harder to read. Just from a straight up a straight up, diction point of view. Like I have to actually think about the sentences and how they flow together.
Yeah.
It's not something I have to do with other writers. And on the one hand, you say, well, it's because he's a genius and he's doing all these weird things. But on the other hand, I'm like, yeah, but shouldn't it be the writer's job to make it flow?
I never really have experienced this with Morrison. This what you're describing
I do
here.
it. I hear what Pete's saying in some of his higher concept stuff.
Yeah.
Like in the things that, but like when he's writing like decent superheroes, like in Justice League of America, it's not a problem. But here, when you're adding these type of characters and there's really big word balloons, I do too. I kind of drift off during the sentence and have to go back.
That's the page earlier on with Volk talking to these other aliens. By the prime tribe, I failed the community. I failed in my deputy as the F-sharp bell toolface for the first time. And he's like, well, no, actually, there was a one-time bangarang and a reverbees. That probably counts as failure when you think about how it turned out. I had to stop and just think about what the hell they're talking about. I don't understand what was happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't argue with it if it didn't. If it's funny when you're reading it, right? That's like, how I feel about Bendis. It's like the dialogue just doesn't land for me. It doesn't make sense to me a lot of the time.
I guess that's fair. It's just one of these things where maybe if it was like actors saying it out and they had like a rhythm to it, maybe it would work better. But
exactly. I feel like Morrison knows the rhythm, but he doesn't know how to tell us what that rhythm is.
Yeah. And honestly, it does make a lot of his work hard to get through for me. I'm very hit and miss on him, depending on what he's writing.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like some of this is dipping into some of the weirder dialogue that Morrison does that I just find difficult to really get into. It makes his book feel a bit more like a chore to read than it should. And if one thing really sticks out to me about a book is that I don't like when it feels a bit like a chore. Like I should enjoy flowing through it. I should wanting to get to the next page over and over again. Because when I got to the end, I was like, okay, all right, we teased, we had the buddy cop stuff a little bit. We teased what the villains are doing. Black Star.
I'm gonna miss Black Star. That guy. That bit where he's with the others and is going over his name, like why
Evil Star.
Evil Star. No, because they rename him Black Star, don't they? That was the thing. They want to call him Black Star.
Okay, all right.
He was trying to be the inverse of the Green Lantern.
Yes, and that ended up at Evil Star.
Yeah, and I feel like the inverse of Green Lantern would be what's the inverse of green on the color circle?
Because it would be purple,
purple,
right?
Yeah, purple would be the inverse. So it'd be purple something. Purple
Star.
Yeah.
I feel like inverse would be something that doesn't make light.
Well, it wasn't always inverse here. So it's a satirical take. They're green, so I'm evil. And then and Star is brighter than Lantern, so it's badass. This whole section, I love this.
Green is the opposite of...
the other two are there going... I mean, at least he put some thought into his name, and the other was like, yeah, but Evil Star.
It was vaguely amusing. I wasn't like super into it, but Purple Shadow, there you go. That's the opposite of Green Lantern, kinda.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm murky on this book, and I was worried I would be because Morrison can sometimes do this with me, where I just don't get into the way his stories flow together. I don't know, maybe it'll grow on me. I'm not done. I'll read issue 3 and I'll see where it goes from here. But yeah, it's funny. It is noteworthy though that I put this off to almost the last book.
It was it would have been the second thing I read if I hadn't misjudged time a little bit, and then it ended up being like the fourth. But no, I'm really digging it.
Yeah,
Morrison's just hit and miss for me. Some people just see him as a mad genius, and everything does make sense. Which I guess
people just see him as mad.
Which I guess is like, as someone who loves something like David Lynch as a filmmaker, I guess I understand that, but it's just not clicking for me a lot of the time. I feel bad for the issue because I feel like the conversation is mostly just how much I don't like a lot of his dialogue here, but not that much really happens in the grand scheme of things to actually kind of...
No, I'm giving this one more issue, and then if I don't enjoy that one, then I'll probably check out.
I'm enjoying the pacing of, okay, it's not a lot happening in terms of plot, but it's like, okay, no, here's the questioning, There's a little bit going on with the villain stuff that we're kind of inching along with that, and then you get okay. Here's the big shock at the end of hey, Earth's kind of gone. So I'm looking forward to seeing okay, what's the response to that.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'll read issue 3. I'll see how I feel. It's okay. I guess we'll rate it. Matt, what are you giving Green Lantern issue 2?
It's a 6.5, I think, because art really didn't do much for me, and the story was fine, but I don't think I'm liking it.
Connor?
7.5. I'm enjoying it.
It's not even that high a rating though, even from you.
It's not like it's great. It's amazing. I'm enjoying it though. 7.5 for me. In terms of where 7 is this is good. 8 is it's great. 9 it's like amazing. So it's 7's like 7.5 is like a very good.
Nah, I have to go with about 5.5. Took some effort to get through, and I don't feel like I got much in the end from it. So maybe there'll be some master plan later that I'll click into place. But right now I'm not feeling it that much.